Happy Monday, happy Monday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Larry White Sr., I see you, my brother, on Instagram. So glad that you're here this morning. Rob Key. All right. So glad that y'all are here. People on LinkedIn, I see you. Happy Monday, happy Monday. Welcome to the show. Getting ready to get started with the Monday Mindset movement in just a few moments. YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and I think we're on X. So glad that y'all are here this morning. Yes, we're getting ready to get started in just a few moments with the Monday Mindset movement. The boom drops in now. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Monday Mindset movement. So glad that you're here. I'm your man, Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me. I am ready to rock this morning. Yes. Monday Mindset Movement, 15 minutes or 20 minutes of inspiration, elevation, and motivation designed to get you thinking, rocking, rolling through your week. That's how we do this thing. So listen, just before we jump in today, let me ask you the questions that I ask. What does success look like to you? Is success a solo sport? And how can you accelerate your path to success? Yes, that's what we're talking about this morning. So glad that you all are here. John, good to see you this morning. Patricia, good to see you this morning. Patrice, good to see you this morning. So glad that you're here. Marissa, so glad that you're here. All right. Jerry's hair. So glad that you're here this morning. Listen, if you want to know when we're going live, text GO LIVE to 240-557-8679. Text GO LIVE, one word, to 240-557-8679 so that you can get text alerts when we're going live, or you can just join us in the Monday Mindset Movement community. Yes. Do me a favor, people. Share the show with your friends. If you believe this is valuable, I know it's going to be goodness this morning. Share the button. Click that share button and share this with at least 2 of your friends. Oh yeah, let's go this morning. We're going to get rocking and rolling. All right, so let's jump in to the Monday Mindset movement. Let's do this thing, y'all. Come on. Yes, we are here for the Monday Mindset Movement. Hey, D. Bowden, good to see you this morning. So glad that you're here. OMG, I hope everybody had a great, fantastic weekend. And we are heading into, if you are in the United States, we're heading into that cornbread and cranberries and turkey season. Yeah, yes. For those of you that are here, Thanksgiving is on Thursday. I love Thanksgiving because it's a good time to get together with family, just to hang out and eat and talk and play games and yell and be crazy for just a second, because yeah, the rest of our year's been so busy, right? So I'm looking forward to hanging out with my fam this week. So what are we talking about today? We have been talking about, over the last few weeks, positive thinking, limiting beliefs, getting to know the real you, achieving and crushing goals, high velocity decision making. Wow, we've been talking about all of those things. We've been talking about launching into new seasons, Yeah, we've been talking about all of these things. And we are going to be talking today about your starting five. So if you have not checked out the previous shows, do me a favor, head on over to the YouTube channel, Robert Kennedy 3, to watch the replays, or you can just join us in the Monday Mindset Movement community by going to MondayMindsetMovement.com, joining us in that group to see all of the other episodes. All right, so let's jump in today. Who's your starting five? Who is your starting five? What are we talking about? Well, Jim Rohn, and I'll repeat this again later, was known for saying that you are the average of the five people closest to you. Yeah. I want you to test that out. I want you to think about who's around you and think about how much alike you are. Do you make similar amounts from a salary perspective? Do you hang out with the same people? Do you kind of like some of the same things? And that's natural. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want you to think about that for a moment. And I want you to think about how it affects you. I want you to think about your conversations. What are the types of conversations that you're having regularly, right? Does your circle, does your group affect you? I want to talk about boxing for a second. I want to talk about boxing for just a moment. Mike Tyson was the greatest fighter that I'd ever seen, right? Mike Tyson was the greatest fighter that I'd ever seen. As a kid, I thought Mike Tyson was invincible. Yeah, I played the video games. I played Mike Tyson Punch-Out, and I'd watch pay-per-views with my uncles, and so I thought that there was no way that anyone in the world was going to be able to beat Mike Tyson. Yeah, Will Smith had this song, I think I could beat Mike Tyson. No, and then he changed his mind, right? I didn't think that anybody could beat Mike Tyson. So you can imagine how shocked I was with the rest of the world when Buster Douglas beat the formerly unbeaten Mike Tyson. Man, when I didn't even see that fight. I didn't see that fight. But the next morning when I woke up, and I saw this picture in the newspaper, what happened? What in the world happened? How could this be possible? Mike Tyson was invincible. How could Mike Tyson be on his back, defeated by Buster Douglas, who nobody even knew? Well, here's the story. Mike Tyson was a troubled teenager growing up with his mom in New York. And he'd been in and out of jail, in and out of juvie. And this was all before he was 13 years old. While he was in juvenile detention, he took up boxing, and there was a man that took note of him, and he introduced him to a gentleman, a trainer by the name of Cus D'Amato. Cus D'Amato met Mike Tyson when he was about 13 years old. And within 10 minutes of watching Mike, Cus D'Amato said, this man, or this young man, this kid is going to be the youngest heavyweight champion ever. Within 10 minutes. So Cus D'Amato, I don't know what happened or what took place or the logistics of it, but through whatever took place, Cus D'Amato became Mike Tyson's legal guardian. And Tyson went to live with Cus D'Amato and his family. Cus D'Amato became Tyson's mentor. He became his trainer. He became his father figure. And he introduced Mike Tyson to the world of professional boxing. Or Mike Tyson was boxing before, but Cus D'Amato took him up to that next level. When Mike Tyson started fighting as a pro, he ran through the heavyweight division, and he had devastating finishes. A lot of fights at the time, as you watch them, they were 5, 7, 10, 12-round fights, people just beating on each other for 12 rounds. Mike Tyson's fights were ferocious and devastating. As a matter of fact, the majority of his fights lasted 3 rounds or less. As a professional boxer, underneath Cus D'Amato, Mike Tyson got to 11-0. But then, in November 1985, Cus D'Amato, his mentor, his trainer, his guardian, his father figure, passes away. A year later, Mike Tyson becomes the champion at the age of 20. He becomes the youngest heavyweight champion at the age of 20, and that's when things begin to spiral. He meets other trainers and promoters, and he's a champion. He's getting all this money, and people begin to come into his circle, and he begins to party, and he begins to do all of these things that he wouldn't have done or that he wasn't doing in the same way underneath Cus D'Amato. And then he loses in shocking fashion to Buster Douglas at the age of 23. What made the difference? What made the difference? Well, he accomplished this goal that his guru had, right? His guru, Cus D'Amato, had set this goal and placed it in front of him and embedded it in him that he would be the youngest heavyweight champion ever. And he set that goal, but once he accomplished that, what was next? His mentor, his trainer, his father figure has passed away, and so he didn't have guidance, and so the people around him essentially determined what he did. Mike Tyson was a fearsome fighter, but it was who was around him that made him great and also tore him apart. Why do I share that with you? Well, who is around you may make you great or may tear you apart. Who is around us makes the difference. Again, Jim Rohn says you're the average of the 5 people closest to you. I liken that to basketball, right? Who is your starting 5? Who's my starting 5? If we go to the field of basketball, I think about Michael Jordan, who was in the league for a couple of years, one of the greatest players of all time, one of the GOATs, lost until he had Pippen, Horace Grant, and the right 5 around him. LeBron James lost until he curated a trip to South Beach with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, right? Most of us will lose or be lost simply based on our starting 5. Simply based on the people who were around us. I'm looking at Instagram. Hey, Gamal Alexander, Michael Manigault. Good to see you. Yeah, we were all shocked when Mike Tyson lost. Yes, yes. Oh, man. Right? Most of us will lose or be lost simply based on who we have around us. And here's the thing. More often than not, our starting 5 is accidental. We haven't curated our starting 5. So here's what happens when you curate or are intentional about your starting 5. I think if I go back to LeBron James, yeah, had Dwayne Wade or curated being with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh on the court. But off the court, one of the things that has separated him from a lot of other athletes is that he's got the savvy business minds of his friends, Rich Paul and Maverick Carter, off the court. Yeah. Life is made up of several different areas, and all of these different areas not only make up who you are, but they also are important in making up your starting 5 and the areas that are essential to your success. So if we think about life as a whole, life is made up of spiritual, financial, physical, relationships and family, career, and personal, right? You've got these areas that make up your life. And so the question I asked you is, do you have someone who has your back or can offer you guidance or mentorship in each of these areas? If you're not clear about who you need in your corner or you need help curating your list, let me help you with your starting five, right? I want to help you figure out who are the five people or the five people types who are going to help drive you to the success that you're meant to have. So I'm going to go through five people. I want you to write these down. The five people that you need in order to reach your full potential, in order to reach success, in order to reach significance. So person number one that you need is you need a spiritual leader. Right? Remember, I said that life is made up of several areas. One of those areas is spiritual. You need a spiritual leader. There's a peace inside of us that we really can't explain, and we need someone to offer direction and focus and calm. Some of us believe some wild stuff, and we're constantly jumping spiritual ships because we don't have a spiritual leader. So we need a spiritual leader. And I'm not talking about necessarily a preacher. I'm not necessarily talking about a guru or a shaman. I'm not necessarily, it can be those people, but part of how we are made is there is spirit. And in order for us to be able to understand or to reach our full potential, we need a spiritual leader. Good to see you this morning, Vero Fata, E4 Productions, Sabrina, hey, good to see you, Saskali. Good to see you this morning on Instagram. So glad that you're here. We need a spiritual leader. So number one person that you need is a spiritual leader. Number two person, not necessarily in this order, is a career or business mentor. We have these things called gifts and skills and abilities, and we use these to build a life. And we build that life through our vocation, right? Our career, our business. So we need a career or a business mentor. I was at a show last night, on Saturday night, a one-man show given by one of my mentors, one of my speaking mentors, Willie Jolly. And he said in that show, you learn things in life in two ways: mentors or mistakes, right? You learn things in life in two ways: mentors or mistakes. Said another way, good men learn from their mistakes. Brilliant men learn from other people's mistakes. So you need a career or a business mentor. Okay, that's person number two. Person number three that you need is a coach. You need a coach. Right? Why do you need a coach? Can I just use a mentor? Yeah, so here's the thing. I remember when I first moved to the state of Maryland and we were going to a church and I was fledgling in business and I was looking for a mentor. And there was a gentleman who I was interested in having him as a mentor of mine. And man, he was busy. I chased him for a year and a half before we were able to sit to have a conversation. He was busy. Yeah, he was running a multi-million-dollar enterprise. He was busy. So here's what happens. Spiritual leaders, they're busy. There are a lot of people that they may be assigned to. Okay, they may be a church or they may be an author, whatever it is. Spiritual leaders are busy. Mentors may meet you at milestones. Okay, they're busy as well. Coaches are right there to help you identify the pieces of you that you may have previously been unable to unlock. Coaches are right there beside you. Here's the thing about coaches, though. You may need to invest in order to get a coach. And that's where some of us are afraid. That's where some of us hit our roadblock because we don't want to invest. We want the freebie. In order to unlock your potential, in order to see your blind spots, you may need to invest in a coach. And that's not a sales pitch for me because I'm not a life coach. Right? You may need to invest in yourself. As you want to get growth in specific areas, you may need to get a coach in that area. You may need to get a financial coach. You may need to get a athletic coach, a fitness coach. You may need to get a relationship coach. You need someone who's an expert in that area that can help you see and navigate some stuff that you're unable to do on your own. You can't see your own blind spots. All right, so those three: a spiritual leader, a business or career mentor, and a coach. Those are your first three. Your fourth person that you need in order to reach your success, or in order to reach significance or your greatest potential, is a driven peer or partner. You need a driven peer or partner. A driven peer or partner of mine said this, a guy by the name of Dr. Del Toro. He says, you need someone who knows you but isn't impressed by you. Right? This person believes in you and your dream, but is also chasing theirs. Unapologetically, just after it, just going for it, just getting it. You need someone who's around you, who's driven. Iron sharpens iron. This person is driven, and at the same time, they challenge you. They challenge you either because they're just going so hard after theirs that you're like, oh my gosh, I got to keep up, or I got to keep going after mine. Or they see that you're not living up to your greatest potential, and why? What's happening? What's keeping you? No, they don't let you off the hook. You need that person in your space. This person challenges you fiercely. Right? And it may not just be one person. It may be a group of people. It may be a group of people that are just driven. This is why masterminds are crucial or important. Masterminds of people who are driven to a higher level. Masterminds of people who are focused on accomplishing something great. Masterminds of people who are locked into making impact. Here's what happens. You cannot be in the presence of ambitious people and stay mediocre. You cannot. Either you're going to feel small and leave, or they will get bored and move away. You cannot be in the presence of driven, ambitious people and stay mediocre. So you've got to have a driven peer or partner, or a driven peer group or partners, in order to help you maximize and reach your greatest potential. The fifth type of person that you need in your space in order for you to maximize, reach your greatest potential, is a mentee. Man, this is where some of us fall off. You need a mentee, because here's what happens. You live life, you gain these experiences, you start to move forward, you reach some measure of success. Now you've got to give back. Now you've got to give. And here is what happens. You only realize the things that you've learned when you begin to share. I remember when I first became a teacher, I taught physics and biology. And man, I don't even know how they hired me as a physics teacher, right? Because I only began to understand physics when I began to teach it. I was teaching this stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh, whoa, why didn't my teacher teach it that way? I'm just learning it. But here's the principle. You only truly begin to realize you're learning. You only truly begin to understand the complexity of your mistakes or how you navigated them when you begin to share it and when you begin to teach it. So you've got to find a mentee. You've got to give. All right, so I'll repeat those 5 things again, those 5 people that you need. You need a spiritual leader. You need a career or business mentor. You need a coach. You need a driven peer or partner. And you need a mentee. So as we land the plane here today, for your action steps, here's what I'd like for you to do. I'd like you to write down these 5 areas: spiritual, career, personal, financial, relationship, and family. Okay? Spiritual, career, personal, financial, relationship, and family. I'd like you to write those down. And I want you to answer this question. Who guides you in each of these areas? Who guides you in each of these areas? Okay? And if you go back to the 5 people that I mentioned, who's your spiritual leader? Who's your business mentor? Who's your coach? Who's your driven peer or peer group? And who's your mentee? I want you to lock those things in. And I really want you to begin to be intentional about curating your group. Here's the question. Are you just rolling with anybody? Are your connections accidental, or are you curating your network to impact your net worth? How intentional are you? Listen, if you have not done this before, it may be time to reevaluate your circle. It may be time to reevaluate who are your 3-hour friends and who are your 3-minute friends. In fact, you might find that you'll need to have some 3-second friends. Listen, be committed to becoming the best version of you, because that's the version that will make a difference in the world and will help you reach your highest level of potential. Hey, y'all, today is Monday, and we want to shift your mindset to a place of growth, but it doesn't just start and stop on Monday. We want to encourage you to take your Monday mindset into the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Be curious, make a choice, move, start a movement. Be a movement. Join me next week, Monday at 8 a.m. on the Monday Mindset Movement, right here on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.